Struggling with a little bit of spread pressure issues too. Like it seems like, you obviously use those spirit links to try to pick one person up, but when you have to use that for the damage reduction, you don't get really as much out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like it is going to be MLD against a jungle cleave. We'll have to see how Livin, Infurion, and I believe that is Sick Druid X. My mind is drawing a blank right now. The full blast, though, going out from Fuin right away, already getting that CC going. But the pressure coming up from this MLD is quite strong. Sukin already getting a little bit low. Waffle Eye actually not in any crowd control, able to get a big heal off, but he has caught into that DR polymorph. Sukin might have to use his first deterrence. Also counter-pressuring Infurion very, very hard right now. Berserk and Incarnation coming out of Fuin. He's getting a little bit low. Sick Druid is having a hard time topping him off at the moment.
Yeah, as Foon is going to hit his Incarnation, as it looks like he is going to be tossing out a bunch of damage. Actually going to jump over and try to chase the Druid down at this point. It looks like he's swapping his targets pretty constantly, not getting too much damage out with that cooldown, however, which is a big deal at the start of this match. And it does look like the second Demon Soul is coming out. Look at that, and just as I say that, the Resto Druid is going to be focused at this point.
Yeah, he has managed to get himself over here out of line of sight, and he's going to go ahead and get a couple of heals on himself. Going to be able to top himself off a little bit, but now that bash comes out, Sick Druid could be in a lot of trouble here. Sukin moving in, trying to put out a whole bunch of damage, but getting a little bit of counter pressure himself, and it may just be enough to make him want to back off a little bit. He's actually going back around the other side of the pillar, but Sick Druid could be in a lot of trouble over here. He's getting super low, and down he goes.
Yeah, Frosty on that Druid, pardon us. Just wasn't able to get away. He did have Gateway available, so I think at the end he didn't end up using that Gateway, but he just couldn't get away from Fuin and Sukin, who had so much pressure. Waffle Eye also throwing out those purges, of course, making it really hard for him to survive. But it doesn't look like Livin and Infurion were able to get out the pressure they needed to really force Waffle Eye, Fuin, and Sukin to have that Gateway, like we said. Going to be able to displace across the entire map. The problem is, Fuin is a Feral Druid. Feral Druid's exceptionally mobile. It's going to be easy for him to reconnect on a Sick Druid, so it's going to be up to Livin and Infurion to make sure that they can get enough pressure, so Fuin's actually scared to chase him down.
Yep, all right, and of course on the left, that is going to be the team of Solari Gaming Black, as they are going to be down 1-0 actually, as I can get the score incorrect. There we go, as Solari Gaming Yellow is of course up, as we see early aggression out from the mage, and maybe that's what they have to do to make a difference, but that is immediately answered by the Incarnation from the Feral Druid. So lots of cooldowns out, but look at how much damage the CC chain is just adding up onto Waffle, as Sukin took a lot of damage and actually having to deter there, so getting a little pressure early out.
Yeah, they actually, that's the Spirit Link out as well from Waffle. So they've actually done a great job of putting on a ton of pressure early on in this match. And honestly, that's exactly what they need. They need to be able to keep that pressure up. If they can keep it going just a little bit longer, Sukin only has one deterrence left available to him. However, Frosty now over here could be in a lot of trouble trying to get out of line of sight, using those big pillars to his advantage. And it's actually working out really, really well for him. We do, of course, have Livin caught into that Cyclone there for just a second. Livin, of course, is playing the character Cogsy, and Frosty is playing the character Sick Druid X. But yeah, actually, I feel like Solari Black may actually be onto something here.
Yeah, that's the full sheep onto Waffle Eye right now. Sukin could be in a lot of trouble. He needs to get that deterrence up as soon as possible, but those Affliction Warlock dots are going to be rotting him down. There's his last deterrence, so he has no deterances available. The team of Solari Black has a lot of time, a lot to work with now. I mean, Waffle Eye has no more cooldowns ready to go, and Sukin's still not out of the woods yet. The full Frost Eye onto Waffle Eye. Use that War Mastery and Ascendance to toss out some heals. Going to be able to top him off. Sick Druid X, aka Frosty, also has no cooldowns ready to go after that Iron Bark, but he was able to pre-Iron Bark that swap on him. I think he's going to be completely fine. He's also in bear form. Good cross CC coming out from Sukin onto Infurion, but I'd be scared as Solari Black right now, or Solari Yellow, sorry. Waffle Eye now caught into that full polymorph. Sukin down to 30% HP. He does not have any more deterrences. This could be the game. Waffle Eye caught into a full clone now. A lot of damage coming in. The incoming haunt from Infurion. He does get cloned up by Fuin, trying to deny that damage as much as possible. Waffle Eye finally out of CC, able to toss out some heals. Another haunt connecting though. It looks like he is going to stabilize. And now Frosty in a little bit of trouble, down to 30% HP, caught into that full stun. Does have the bar skin up, but is it going to be enough? He has the NS up, it gets dispelled off, displaces away, getting behind the pillars. Yep, is going to be able to top himself off, I believe, but he does have the bleeds still on him. Fuin trying to get back, trying to connect to him, puts out that triple DR stun. He is in bear form. He's having a really hard time healing himself up though, and Fuin and Sukin both connecting on his back. He's trying to get away. Ironheart comes in the nick of time, gets off that Genesis. He might be able to survive for now, but he is just completely having to play defensive.
Yeah, they have completely lost all of their offensive pressure at this point. They need to start turning this back around onto Sukin again. They've got about 30 seconds before his next deterrence comes up. And if they can make something happen in that span of time, they may still have a chance here. But Frosty is just in so much trouble here. He's just constantly having to try to kite. He trinkets. He's just trying to get away right now. He has no defensive cooldowns left. He just needs to keep his hots rolling on himself as much as he possibly can. But I don't know what he can do at this point. He's getting so low. Frosty is sitting at a sliver of health, just barely manages to get out of there. Is he actually going to live through this? He's got no health. The main comes out. He could be, and that's it. There he goes.
Just at that second as he reached around the pillar, the incarnation comes up from the Feral Druid, that massive cooldown. That is going to spell defeat for Solari Gaming Black.
Yeah, and the problem is...
Now, probably one of the most iconic raids of all time, and one of the most story relevant. Now, Icecrown Citadel was the final raid in Wrath of the Lich King, and also the fortress of the Lich King himself, which was the main villain at the time. Now, in my opinion, this is the only raid and maybe the only expansion so far where you actually had a feel you were fighting the Lich King and that he was a direct threat to the world and that every action against Artist kinda made an effect. So it was something completely different. You really just had this feel you were fighting a greater evil and there was an actual threat to the world. It wasn't just like in Cataclysm. Even though, for example, Deathwing was amazing, he still wasn't that much of a threat, even though lore-wise he was. But in Wrath of the Lich King, there was just this feel about it with Artis, and the Icecrown Citadel was the peak of it. Now, just entering the Icecrown Citadel was amazing. You had all these giant skeletons and spiders defending the entrance, and then just like with Karazhan, you had this multiple floor thing, which leads to the final encounter, and that was the Lich King. Now, this isn't just a regular raid or just like a minor boss. This is Artis, I mean the one who destroyed the entirety of Lordaeron and took over Northrend and made the Scourge to what it was, pretty much a major threat to the entire world and a force of its own, completely splitting apart from the Burning Legion. Now, ever since Warcraft 3, the story has just been building up, so it finally can be finished in this raid, and once you get to the top, you actually had the feeling you were at the top of the world and at the throne of the Lich King, the evil himself. And after a long fight together with Tyrion, Arthas was finally defeated. And thus the entire storyline, which was one of the most important storylines in the entire Warcraft universe, finally ended.
King rules forever, my son.
I see only darkness before me.
And lastly, number 1, Ulduar. Now, the reason why this is number 1 on the list is because it matches all of these qualities that I've considered for this list. So mechanics, atmosphere, and the lore, and also the receival of the community. Now, it came out in a patch during Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and soon it turned out to be, as a lot of people call it, the peak of the World of Warcraft raiding. Now, it is an ancient titan complex located in Storm Peaks, and the entire thing is just an addition to the still ongoing story of the Titans and how they got to this world and how they pretty much made this world as it is. Now, the raid itself though had multiple bosses, and every boss was just like a completely different thing. Now, both mechanics wise and environment wise, and the entire thing felt like a part of something. It wasn't just like one of those raids or dungeons where you just go there, fight bosses just standing there and waiting for you to attack them, and they aren't really nothing more than just obstacles that you have to complete in order to finish the raid. While in Ulduar it was completely different. I mean, you were fighting all these crazy bosses, these constructs, titan watchers, dragons, and all in their own chambers that matched the entire thing. And apart from that, it felt like it was made for the titans. I mean, everything in Ulduar was giant, and you had all these massive doorways and walls that made you feel like an ant in the entire thing. And it was just something different and something that wasn't just a weekly grindfest, and hopefully there will be raids like this in the future of the game that will be able to actually match the greatness of Ulduar.
Bran Bronzebeard's forces assaulted the gates of Ulduar. They battled the Iron Lords and their cursed minions.
Evasive action! Evasive action!
He won't stop talking about this presence he felt, permeating the great halls, stirring in their minds, chilling their blood. He said, the horror that the Titans imprisoned so long ago, Yogg Saron has awakened.
So that is all I have for this list. Of course, this doesn't mean that the other raids sucked or anything like that. This is just my opinion on them from my own perspective. But anyways, which raids do you like the most and you thought were the best ones in the game? And also give some reasons why. And also don't forget to leave some